This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 890, Dungeons and Demons. Enjoy.
So the first kind of rewards on the chopping block is that there's 9 enchantments, which increase the power of pre-existing items.
And I just want to say, people who have been keeping up with their demon farming, the daily demon farms and the daily rerolls, you're going to have an advantage to this, and I kind of wish I was doing that leading in.
Yeah, I think one of these sets, there's one for each style of the weapons that give you more damage when you're using them against the correct combat triangle.
Yeah.
There's the Rex Matriarch ring for each style, and there's the ability altering gloves for each style. Each have an enchantment. And the ring enchantments, because we just talked about critical damage enchants, we'll start there. Because these got one of the biggest pieces of love from these enchantments. And the rings, I believe, it's either 8 or 10 slivers apiece.
I believe it's
10.
It's 10
really?
for the rings. Okay.
Yeah, 10 for the rings.
It's 8. It's 8 for the gloves, and then 15 for the weapons. Okay. So 10 for the rings. The rings. Some of the rings are bigger winners than others. Our base comparison is going to be 5% damage output from ring. That's your Berserker ring, your Reaver's ring. The typeless one that drops your accuracy by 5% gives you 5% crit chance.
And that one didn't get a enchantment this week, did it?
It did not. No. It's already powerful enough. Yeah. It's worth noting, it is still the highest source of critical chance of any of these. So if you are optimizing for critical chance, right? If you're running a Fractured Staff, if you're running Death Spore arrows, it is still the best option. But what they've done, and we'll start with the Champion's Ring, because that's the melee ring, and it got the biggest glow up from all of these. It gained, when you have the enchantment on it, it gained 1% critical chance, so from 3 to 4, on a bleeding target, which your target is now always bleeding because Abyssal Flesh exists. You get 4%, so you're 1% critical damage less, so you have 1% damage to make up with the ring. The additional bonus to this is you get 1.5% critical strike damage for each bleed on your target, which effectively means as long as you have at least 1 bleed, you're probably close to breaking even, and if you have 2 or more bleeds going, which for melee a lot of the time you will, that's gravy. So
that feels very powerful.
Without losing the 5% accuracy. It's great. So the Champion's Ring before, 3% crit damage was never the best choice for melee. There just wasn't a situation where you needed that accuracy, where it was just a better choice than the other ring.
Yeah.
So with this change, I think the Champion's Ring is almost better everywhere. So big glow up for the Champion's Ring. Those Warriors rings off the DKs are now they were worth trash, and they should be worth something now.
and I absolutely think they needed to do this, because if we go back to our PVM meta review episode from last year, when it came to Reaver's ring, it was Reaver's ring or the Channeler's ring, basically.
Right.
Unless you were using a bow, which even then, niche.
If you're using a bow, niche. Worth noting, too, that each of these ring enchantments requires a pair of automaton gloves. So the automaton gloves, which had now been outshone entirely by everything.
Also scrimshaws.
Yes. And scrimshaws. So a little bit extra money for the poor people because scrimshaws got pushed out by the new books.
Exactly. And with
all the good balance.
And I think when scrimshaws also really went down was when they did those ports weekends a couple Christmases ago and flooded the market with all those bones and such.
Yeah.
So
they always recovered. They always recovered, though.
Yeah.
They always recovered. So we'll see where this falls. The problem with these enchantments is they're a single time consumable per account.
Yeah.
And so there will be an initial uptick in terms of the number of things that are being consumed, but after that it is an extra source pulling them out of the economy, right? And so
we are talking
not a ton
also,
of people do automaton, so
we are also talking about endgame rings here too. So
yes, absolutely.
So just keep that in mind.
These are relatively expensive rings and will continue to be. I don't think that's going to change because of this.
No.
So that's the melee ring. Melee ring does that. I actually want to talk about the range ring next.
Okay.
Because it's a parallel where you get 1% extra critical chance when it's active. So 4%
Only
crit
when
chance
using
total,
a bow.
but Well, that's the thing with the ring, right?
Yep.
When using a bow. And they added a 3% crit strike damage to it, which, again, generally speaking, should break even and do slightly better, and also compensate for your accuracy, or not have to have you compensate for accuracy. So if you're using bow, the Stalker's ring is now best in slot. That's just, I think I can say that pretty unequivocally. Same thing with melee. Generally speaking, melee, you're better off with the Champion's ring, unless you are in a situation where you really want to optimize. So if you're using your bow, it may be better for you to still be on Reavers if you're using a Death Spore rotation, which we'll talk about that when we get to the new bow. Death Spore's got a bit of a blow up there, kind of. The last ring is the Ring of Metaphysics, and this is the change to the Channeler's ring. They added 2.5 crit strike damage based on for every hit of a channeled ability that you do. So 2.5 base plus 2.5 on addition for 5% on crit hit.
Doesn't Tendrils do something absurd like 5 hits or something?
Tendrils does 5, the Armadyl Battlestaff does 4, G-Conk does 3.
Okay.
And this is on top of it already giving a number of critical... It had a critical strike chance bonus that was based on the hit. Now it has a critical strike damage bonus based on the number of hits as well.
I'm sorry, I just have to laugh at this. They bring out a tier 95 bow. Yeah. Magic is still going to be top damage dealer.
Yeah, no.
At the end of the day
this is the only real buff to Magic. This and kind of the gloves. True. The gloves are pretty small.
And Magic's in a good spot too. It didn't really need it.
Well, and we'll get to the bow.
Yeah.
The bow's interesting. The bow's going to need to get changed, I think. But again, Magic is good. It is probably still only a switch. You probably want the Reaver's ring on most of the time with your Armadyl or with your Fractured Staff. Unless you're using an Armadyl special or maybe Tendrils, but Tendrils is kind of sketchy to begin with. So I think you just switch to this when you're about to spec, and then you switch back to Reavers, because Reavers has so much value for all of your basics and a lot of your other abilities. Yeah.
So I did buy this. I've tried it, camping it. I haven't noticed any difference. It feels pretty similar to Reaver's Ring. Like, you get less crits, but the crits deal more damage, so it's kind of more dependent. I've gotten faster kills with it. I've gotten much slower kills with it. So.
Well, it gives... I mean, the ring gives a flat 4% crit chance, I believe, per hit of your... So if you use it only for... what should I call it? If you use the ring only for your channel abilities, that ring can... It's the only way in the game to, break 50% crit chance. And that crit chance applies globally to your character while those hits are being fired. So for the next several ticks, any Armadyl battle or any Armadyl Fractured Staff of Armadyl autos that get fired off also have that crit chance. So that elevated crit chance hits on more attacks than that, if I understand how that works correctly.
Yeah.
So it's a good buff.
Yeah.
It's a powerful buff, but it's the only buff to Magic this patch. So
I sit here and I want to say for the best in slot Magic setup now. I don't think I need that kind of power, but I feel like that's
a lot of fun.
Should go.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. I mean, the deal with the ring, if you really want to optimize, it should be a switch. If you don't want to optimize, it's a great camp. The ring is now a good camp. I might camp that instead of Reavers now.
It's good enough where it doesn't.
It's good enough, yeah, exactly.
I think it's
all right.
Either or.
You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.